How did television news shows cover this week's big story? Did they get the facts right? Did they get the context? Join us for the real story.
I'm Katie Couric. New bloodshed as Iraq marks a deadly anniversary.
A new setback in the fight for Iraq. A dark cloud in broad daylight as bombs killed dozens in Baghdad on this bloody anniversary.
The gunman came in and executed these Shiite owners of a shop.
Distraught neighbors ask, why all the killings?
It's all about power. The Shias are trying to gain power in Baghdad. The Sunnis are trying to hold on to power in Baghdad.
So the problem is the Shia and the Sunni fighting for power, Americans trying to keep peace, the debate in the United States, stay and keep peace, or we can't keep peace, so we should get out. That's the picture of Iraq on American television news.
Very definitely. Americans continue to receive a badly distorted view of what's going on in Iraq, and we're getting the spin put on by the American networks and the Pentagon and the White House, which is essentially that we are well-intentioned, do-gooding Americans are here caught in the middle of this terrible civil war and not of our making. And we don't know what to do. The Shiites and the Sunnis were uncomfortable with each other and had doctrinal clashes, but there was not fighting in the streets like we see here. In fact, there was very little, almost no violence. So what has happened is that the presence of the United States in Iraq and the overthrow of the Iraqi government sparked this civil war, and unfortunately the United States has played a major role in fueling the civil war, something that the American media is not telling American people.
The other piece that's completely missing from American media coverage is what are people fighting about? Clearly everyone's fighting over who's going to control the oil, but the American role in who's going to control the oil is completely missing from television media coverage.
Well, it is, and there's no mention made of, for example, Paul Wolfowitz's plans, who said that we would finance a total occupation of Iraq by plundering its oil, or any mention of what happened to all the billions of dollars that are coming out of sales of Iraqi oil, second biggest oil reserves in the Middle East. Where's the money? Nobody's telling Americans these stories behind the scenes, which American taxpayers deserve to know.
The other thing I don't see on American TV very often, rarely, is Iraqis saying what they want. Outside of official spokespeople for the Iraqi government, you rarely hear an Iraqi say anything. But there was a fascinating report done recently by Laura Logan, who's the senior foreign correspondent for CBS News. A really good report, and I want to show it to you because what's amazing about this report is that CBS News wouldn't show it on television. They put it on their website, but they wouldn't show it on television. Can we see it now?
This is day 12 of the battle between Iraqi forces and Sunni gunmen at war on Haifa Street in the center of Baghdad. Another Haifa Street resident, who wouldn't be identified for fear he'd be killed, blamed the fighting on the U.S. They told us they would bring democracy. They promised life would be better than it was under Saddam, he said. But they brought us nothing but death and killing. They brought mass destruction to Baghdad. Lara Logan, CBS News, Baghdad.
Now, I can't know what's in CBS executives' mind. I can't say they didn't show it because it directly blamed U.S. policy for the disaster in Iraq. But clearly, that's a voice we almost never hear.
That's right. The U.S. media is self-censoring itself. After all, the big corporate media is selling a product that is called news, but it could be toothpaste or diapers or anything else. And when you're in selling products, you want to avoid offending people. And that's really what the objective is to offend the least amount of people while presenting news that is more often entertainment than actual news.
The critique of the Bush administration in Iraq seems to get limited on television news to the parameters set by the leadership of the Democratic Party. So if the Democratic Party are making the issue the incompetence of the Bush administration or the incompetence of the waging of the war, that's where the media critique goes.
Saddam Hussein, President Saddam Hussein, who had been telling the truth all along about his weapons of mass destruction, and President Bush and Vice President Cheney, who had not been telling the truth. You don't see the media asking, is it wrong to be in this war? Are we doing the wrong thing? Are we hurting American strategic interests around the globe, et cetera, by doing this? You're right, they're talking about the tactical things that the Democrats who are raising, who also are scared to stand up and say that the war was wrong and they shouldn't have backed it in the first place.
Kofi Annan called the war illegal. If a war is illegal, then you think there should be some level of accountability. It's, again, the Democratic Party leadership don't raise the question that way, so the media doesn't raise the question that way.
That's correct. And what disturbs me about the media, particularly these days, is that the media has adopted wholesale the vocabulary of government. They invade a country, they overthrow its internationally recognized government, and the members of let's say, the Iraqi government and those Iraqis who fight back are termed insurgents. They're not insurgents. This is a national resistance movement by any proper definition. They were first terrorists, now they're insurgents. They'll probably find some other name. But you see in all the reporters on Canadian and American TV adopting the same terminology: nation building, rebuilding Iraq, fighting for the rights of Iraqis, risking their lives to rebuild Iraq. You hear the same set of stories that have been handed out, actually, as PR releases by the military public relations departments.
Well, very soon coming on this show will be one of our news items, and we will invite you to rip us to shreds. And I hope you will show no mercy.
I shall start sharpening my rapier.
Thank you.